Greetings. I hope you don't hear this weird sound in the background. I've been running a humidifier in my office for the past week or so because I have dry skin. It's been irritating me, and so I did some research online and it said to run a humidifier. So I run it a lot, and it does a couple of things. One, it actually helps to warm up the room, which is really cool. Hasn't done much for my skin, but it is warming up the room. And two, it has kind of taken its toll on a few things that I have on the walls that aren't stuck on the walls with pins. For instance, this. And you can see right there at the top it says, My 10 Affirmations. I actually put this on my door about 12 or 13 years ago. One of the things that I talk about here and there is motivation and different ways to motivate yourself and to find energy and to have goals and different stuff like that. And I did it. And I put it on my office door, and then I pretty much haven't noticed it. You hate to admit that, but really, I probably needed to have it closer to me here on the wall or over there. I probably needed to write it bigger, but I didn't. Matter of fact, I wrote, look at this. Look at the fancy print on that thing. Isn't that kind of cool? But because it was so small, I've never really looked at it. And the thing is, if the humidifier hadn't made the tape loosen up, had taken the tape off of it, I probably still wouldn't have noticed it. Because by the tape loosening up, suddenly it was flapping. And for a couple of days, I've just been opening up the door, hearing that flap, getting irritated by it, but not paying any attention. I finally decided, what is this? And I realized I wrote these affirmations a long time ago, over 10 years ago. I think it was 2008, if you want to know the truth about it. Because I remember certain things going on at different times, and I think I put this on there in 2008. So, I said, you know what? I did these 10 affirmations. Let's see how well I did on these. Because they're affirmations, they're also goals indirectly. And I said, let's see how well this might have worked, even without me knowing it. Some of these I know. As a matter of fact, the very first one, which is really the only one I looked at, I know I didn't come close, and I'm glad I didn't come close. So the first one I wrote down is, I want to own a 7,500 square foot ranch house along with 5 acres that will allow my house to grow as I see fit. Well, my house right now is 1,900 square feet, and it's just my mother and I in the house, and truthfully, it's a big house. It's a 5-bedroom house. What the devil would I have done with 7,500 square feet? As for 5 acres, I have a half an acre in, out there, and I don't go outside. I don't like bugs. I'd rather not have grass. If I had my way, I would pave the entire thing, but I don't have my way. You can't do that here. I can do it in front, but I can't do it out back. I got all these trees. Where I live was built on a swamp, 50 to 100 years ago. So, you can't do that. But there's one I'm glad that didn't happen. 7,500 square feet? Who needs that? I don't think I could afford to pay taxes on a 7,500 square foot house. And a ranch? So this is not even a 2-story. This is a ranch. Yes, I do love walking. I don't want to walk that much. Not just with me and my mother. So I'm glad that one didn't come through. Number 2. I want to write as many books as I can and have each one become a bestseller in its genre. Well, I had actually written one book by this time. It didn't become a bestseller, but I made my money back because I self-printed it. This is different than self-published. Back then, I actually went to a printer's in town and I printed off so many, books. I still have some, but I took it around with me. I went to speaking engagements, took my book, sold them there. Sold some online, so, I did okay with that. And then I wrote the second book, which I have as a PDF right now. Both the topics were on leadership. I actually had a third book that I don't even talk about anymore. It was called Using Your Website as a Marketing Tool. And I actually sold some of those. So I did do the first part, which is write books, but I didn't become a bestseller in any genre. Still, I can say I wrote books. How many of y'all out there can say, honestly, that you wrote books? I know one person who, if she sees this, is going to say, I did. Yes, you did. So, there you go. Number 3, I want to get down to my prime weight the healthy way and want to view working out as something I enjoy along the way to being healthy. Well, that one's a mixed bag. I hated going to the gym. I talked about it in another video where I said I absolutely hated it. I went 68 straight days to the gym, spent an hour there at least every time. I hated going to the gym. I just didn't like it at all. I hated, leaving the house to go do it. What did I develop, however? I walk. I walk a bunch. I make sure I walk at least 6 miles every single day. Maybe not all at one time, but eventually 6 miles. On Friday, I walked 13 miles. My feet were killing me. And the next morning, my legs and my back were saying, what were you thinking? Still, I did find that way to at least, work out. In the time period between when I wrote this and now, I've lost 60 pounds. I did it kind of slowly, but still, I lost 60 pounds. And I've got better control over my diabetes. Not always the kind of control I want to have. I need to still work on that. But in essence, I'm going to count that one as a go. So, we got that one. Next one. I want to be able to travel more for enjoyment rather than work, whenever I want to and wherever I want to go. You know what? That hasn't happened. I haven't been on a vacation since really 1999. If I want to stretch it, I could say 2004. Truth of the matter is, there's nowhere I want to go. I have been everywhere I wanted to go. Doesn't mean I've seen everything in the world. For instance, I've never seen the Grand Canyon live, but I don't want to go there. I really don't. I haven't been to Toronto and Montreal. I am less than 3 hours away from Montreal. I'm 5 hours away from Toronto. But I've never really had an urge to go. I should at one point, but I've just never had that urge. I've been to Washington, D.C., but I haven't been as far as a vacation. I've been there for work. I've been to New York City, but I worked there for 3 months. And I went there before I wrote this for, vacation or excitement or whatever. So, and I can't even say it wasn't a vacation. What do you call it? You take a one-day trip down there on a train so you can go to Chinatown and buy stuff that you're spending way too much money for, even though you're only paying a little bit of money because it's not real. If y'all go to Chinatown and you're not from New York State, you cannot buy a Rolex for $35. Or you can't buy a real one. I'm just letting you know. So, no, that one I haven't done. I have been to a lot of places I never thought I would be. But as far as fun, hasn't happened. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, number 5. I want to travel around the world giving seminars on a multitude of topics and have people think of me as one of the most popular presenters in the world. That came about after I had seen a lady who was actually the president of the National Speakers Association right here in Syracuse. She came here and she was fantastic. And I said, wow, I'd like to be that. And she was earning $500,000 a year just speaking, not even with her business, just traveling around the country speaking. And I said, you know what, I'd love to do that. And I have spoke, but I can't say that since I did this, I have traveled around the world. I did most of that in the early 2000s. The only speaking engagements I've done since then have been here in town. I spoke to the local universities a couple of times, and I've spoken to other organizations. I presented at a couple of seminars. So that one didn't come true. That's too bad, because I think that would have been a lot of fun. And in today's world with the virus and whatever, it just isn't anything that's going to happen for a while. Who knows? Maybe I can get hooked up to do a Zoom presentation. That'd be kind of cool, as long as they paid me. So that one didn't happen. Number 6, I want to see in person all the wonders that fascinate me in calendars. Well, okay, you know what? Let's tie that back in with the vacations. I don't want to go see any of that. I don't want to see any volcanoes. I don't want to be on any mountains. I don't want to see a whole lot of lakes. I got Lake Ontario. I can drive 35 miles and see Lake Ontario. If I really want to go see the Atlantic, well, okay, I can see the Hudson. If I go to New York City, no, there's just nothing I really want to see. I've been to Florida a bunch of different times. I don't want to go there again. I don't want to go. There's just nothing else. So that didn't happen because I didn't really have anything I wanted to go to. Number 7, I want abundance to fill my life so that I can share it with my friends and give to charities I want to help without feeling pressured because of financial constraints. I still have that as a goal. It's more of a goal than an affirmation. That one hasn't come true. Hey, what can you say? And it's always that question of how much money do you really want so that you can do that kind of thing? And I will blatantly say up front, $10 million. I want $10 million in the bank. You don't really need that kind of money to do some of these things, but it just makes things so much easier. But I can't say that I've gone that far. Yes, I have given donations. I can still pay my bills, but it'd be nice to be able to have more. So, nah, ain't got that one. Number 8, I want to hire a housekeeper to keep my house clean, a personal trainer to keep my body fit, a masseuse to keep my body feeling good, and a cook to keep me eating healthy. Well, I got one of those. I actually have a housekeeper. Comes once a month to help. Okay, she cleans the kitchen and the bathrooms. And she has someone come with her, so just the kitchen and the bathrooms. I can handle everything else because it's rugs. All I got to do is vacuum. And, boy, I'd love to have that masseuse. But that didn't happen. A personal trainer? No. If I'm not going to the gym for the personal trainer, I'm not bringing someone here. I'm not paying that kind of money to have someone come to the house and yell at me because I'm not giving them what they want me to give. And a cook would be nice. Matter of fact, I tell people all the time, I'd rather have a nanny because I buy food that I never cook and end up having to throw it away. I spend most nights wondering, what am I going to eat tonight? What do I want for dinner? Sometimes I order food out. Sometimes I just make grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which are wonderful, but you can't eat, you can't live on that too often. It goes against too many other things. It was a hope. Number 9. I want to be able to offer positive influence in people's lives and be remembered for any goodness I might be able to impress upon others. That one's a strange one because, truthfully, when I created this, I didn't have a YouTube channel. I now have 2 YouTube channels. And I had a blog, but I didn't have, a couple of other blogs that I have now. And I've had people who I've spoken to either on the phone or over, let's see, what did we have before we had Zoom? Oh my goodness, it doesn't matter. But, visual like this or in person. I've had people comment on certain blog posts, how they've appreciated what I've written and how it's made them feel. I had that from people I'm connected to on Facebook, friends. Every once in a while on Twitter, but not as often as it probably was when it first started. LinkedIn, every once in a while. And I think that if you can influence at least a couple of people to a point where they say, you know what, you've made a positive, influence on my life and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I say that you've probably done well. And on that one, I think I've done that. I've really worked hard. Yeah, I've sometimes gotten a little hard on some truths, like last week's video. But, that's always kind of what I've wanted to be. I've always wanted to be the person who helps everyone else. Now, I would love to be in a place like Les Brown or Zig Ziglar or some of the other major people. I'd love to be there. But for now, with what I'm doing, I'm kind of happy with that. So that's number 9. And number 10, I want prosperity and wealth to never stop coming into my life so I don't feel guilty when I step back, take a big breath, and say thank you to whomever might be listening. Still working on that one. Definitely working on that one. Have not given up on that $10 million in the bank. I've not given up on that. But you know what? I played the $1 billion lottery last week. Didn't win, but I played. So let's look here. Most of us are not going to get to that number. It's just not going to happen. There's a lot more millionaires than you think, but not multi-millionaires, not billionaires. There's a lot of people who are making, the $200,000, $300,000 a year, and they're doing well. And even when you come down to that number, you're still talking less than 5% of the population in the world. Isn't that scary? But 200,000 is not a bad number to look for. Not a bad number to say, maybe I can get there. I was there. For 2 years in my business life, I was there. I wish I could have stayed there. That would have been really nice. But, you know, that's just how life is when you're an independent consultant. It ain't easy to get there. And if you get that opportunity, you got to work that bad boy as much as you can. So, there you go. So, what was that? I think I got 4 out of the 10. But I wrote it down. And that's not bad. It's interesting to look back on. There's some things on here, it turns out, I didn't want. That's kind of cool. I'm glad that didn't happen. You know, if you're watching Home and Garden Channel, which I haven't watched in the longest time, and they're offering you the opportunity to win a free house, don't do it. Don't do it. Or if they tell you, we either give you a free house or we give you the monetary value of that you can do. Because you're going to have to pay taxes. And if they give you the money, they'll take the taxes up front. And then you can figure out what to do with the rest of it. There's a good tip. I hope y'all like that one. Anyway, that's what I have for this week. Let me know your thoughts. Have you guys ever written down affirmations like this or goals like this? And have you ever gone back to look at it to see if you got any of them? Maybe you want to modify some of those. I'm going to do another one. And I'm going to make it bigger. And I'm going to put it closer. Because my door is way over there. I got something right here on the wall there. And I can put another thing here on the wall. When I first wrote my very first, when I wrote that back in 2004, I had it taped to my computer, which sat right next to me. I might do that again. Anyway, my name is Mitch Mitchell. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Let me know your thoughts.